From our previous lectures, we stopped at the installation and testing of the first program we wrote in our VS Code. Now we begin. We continue, move forward from where we stopped earlier. Then we stop here, and we have explained some of the program concepts, what are made of the programs, the stdio, the Identifiers, the main functions. But let's go deep beyond where we stop. Let's talk about the main function in general. We are still going to talk about function generally, but let's go deeper compared to what the main function is. Now let's look at before then, let me just go a little bit about the role of the main functions. It is the main entry point of the functions of the program. So any code we wrote, whether below or above, they need to be invoked or called in the main function before they can be executed. If this is not done, the program will just be there without anything. For instance, let me create a program. Let me create a program here. For example, let me just create a folder here. Let me call it P2. There's P2 here. P2 main. It just means that P2 main. Then just drop it. Let me now create a file inside this folder. Let me just call it maybe P1 or P21. P21.p. Then we include the file, include our std. Please, I will advise you to be copying and pasting code. It will make it better. stdio.h. Then its main function 0 days. Now, for example, if I have here, and if I just have maybe some, for example, here I have another function, we just show greets. Let me just create a simple function, but we're going to talk about function later, not now. But they just void greets. Let's call it greets. So print f. Hello guys. Then if I save this, now it's saved automatically. Then if I now run this program, I'm still check my directory here. You can also compile it from here. You can just search for code run. Run is not showing, just a code run, and install this code run. So it's going to add it automatically, and to show a play button here. But if you are using C Lion, it should be there. Just right click and run to compile the program. Or you can just choose the main compile program we make use of the other time. Let's make use of the other one we make use of the other time. So let me change the directory back. I'm inside this P1 now, but let's move to this P2. P2 change directory. So the dots, then CD, P2, this, where this, GCC. What is the name of the file? Let's just call it what? P21. Let's just call it the file name. Let's make it an how-to file. Then we now name it. Let's give it a name. Let's call it ordinary G. Let's call it G21. And what's the name of the file? P21.ac. We compile it now. The binary file is generated here. Then we now move for. I'm on Linux now. Let me run it now. The G21. And you see, I'm seeing an empty file because it's not called in the main file. We were told that anything inside the main that is going to be executed, but now we are not seeing it inside the main function. For this thing to work, we need to call it here inside this main. Just call the name. Don't bother much about the something. Just call the name, and let's recompile again. Compile, then and just run. And you see, hello guys, is showing. So that's a sample of it. So now we can see that the syntax structure about the main functions. The main function also it's named as main. No other functions can bear that name anymore. So by default, it's taking in void. But you can also include parameter to it. For example, the file name can be an integer 0. The other argument like flags we want to pass to it. We also what include it later on. But this is passing like void now. For example, let's go back to our main code and let's just include void here. Just if we make it void, it's also the same thing as not making it anything. Also, you just it here and just compile here again. It still work. Okay, let me comment this one out. Let me comment it out. Let me recompile. Let me now run it. Can you see? I'm not seeing anything. It's still working. But you also remove the void there. That means it's not taking any parameter. So for me, now let's go on. You can see I've explained this the other time. You can also go through it, the ints, what it does. And also, let's look at the one that takes in the parameter here. Here means the argument counts, the character. Here we go to specify it by number of arguments. Here we copy this code and you run it. Let's see what's going to happen by let's specify it and let's just try it. You learn more by practicing. Now, where is my VS Code? For example, here to avoid this, so just copy delete this. So let's implement int argument C. Then we have char. Then array of element. This array of element is. We're going to talk about array also in future. So let's just try to print out something here. Let's try to put how many counts of elements do we have, how many elements do we supply, then can we print them out one after the other. So counts. Sorry. What's going on? Counts, just here %d, the placeholder, %d. I'm sorry guys. %d, you have to add C now. Add C. So now let me print out one of the index. I'm going to pass in parameter along. Instead of me running this file here alone, I'm going to run it with parameter being supplied. Now let me try it here now. Here. And how am I going to get it? I'm going to get it from the parameter supply here. Here, this is just parameter here. But by the time I'm supplying it, I'm going to give an argument, right? Now let's try it. Now let me print out. In case it's going to be string, it can be string, it can be numbers, it can be anything. So in case you want to pass in string are the combination of characters. I just okay, print past arguments. Can just say %string means for string, the placeholder, then you can agree of 1. You may ask me a question, what of 0? Why am I not starting from 0? Since array starts from 0, array of element can be in this form, array of element can be int, maybe of number can be in this form. So we have can be 0, 25, 45, and dot dot dot. These are just arrays of number, and it starts from index of 0. You want to get any value, you refer them as index value. This is index 0. This is this is index 1. This is index what? Index 45. And this is index 2. I call index 2 like numbers of 2. I say numbers 2. Maybe numbers 2, for example. Numbers of 2, it will give me with a value of 45. 0, 1, 2, no matter what is inside the curly braces. So that is an example of an array. Now let's go back here. Same thing is going to be for this. You can see symbol for array here. Then having a what a pointer. Just forget about that what is happening, but let's just leave it. Let's see the result. How we can also pass in some value to this main function from our what? From the IO stream, from our stream here. Then we have let's firstly print the, let's just do something here. The slash mean what? Means new line. We enable us to have new line, so everything will not module up in one file, in one line. So on one line, sorry. So then let's print out this. Then we have file name. File name just going to be what? Going to be in form of string as well. So then we have arg of v, and v of 0. That we get the first the index. So what is we give in the initial index will be the file name, and file name here will be G21 here. And the file name will you to save your name, the name of your file, the compiled file is going to be the name that's going to be printed out. Now let's try. Now let's return 0. Let's compile it now. So now let's run it down. So you can see, because I did not pass any argument here, it's telling me that compile is 0. Now let me run it. Let me pass something here. Let me just pass come. Can you see the items there are 2? What is inside the array list here is are 2. That is the file name, which is here, and what I pass in. I can also pass in like 3 times. Let me just try and get maybe 3 elements, but the third element I'm going to pass in many things, but I'm going to print out the one at the index 3. Let me just pass in 34, that's index 1, maybe run, that is index 2, that even that is index 3, sorry, it's without command. 34 sun, that is index 2, moon, that is index 3, star, that is index 2. Okay, let me just run it now, and you see it print out what is in the 3. What is in index 3 here is, well, this is index 1. Okay, let me compile please. I've not compiled, that's why it's showing me index 1. Compile. Let me now go back to the other one. Can you see it printed out moon? This is index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3. So that is how the main function. I can also pass in some kind of flag to your code. Maybe you require someone else to pass in some kind of thing, information. You pass it from the information to the main function as well. The other one, you talk about them later. Then you can move but let's go down a little bit. You can also read the argument, the documentation. You can read them because of time. So importance of the main function. The main function is absolutely crucial for executing your programs. I've told us as well. The lifetime, every variable we declare inside that function will only end in that scope. That was what scope is also called scope. The scope of a function here, if I come here now, this variable, everything here can only run here and work here. So it cannot be used outside. So that is the scope through the help of the braces here and the end of these closing braces here. So now let's move forward. Now let's talk about the core syntaxes. We have about syntaxes, we have the inflow. What does it mean by some syntaxes? You have keyword, all those things, syntactic structures. Talking about the syntactic structures that are made out of the programs. Or what, and it's not semantic now. Talking about syntactic structures, how your code will be structured, some keyword that will be used, some kind of statement that will be used as well, all the syntax that are made up of your programs. So we also have data types. What are keywords? Keywords are some words that is what defined by this only made that is only made use of by the compiler. If you want to use, for example, int now, For example, I want to declare something as integer. I cannot use int, for example, now because it's already a keyword. I cannot use it. But I also have to use it by all means. I would rather make this one character or add another value to it, or like underscore in front of it, not dollar signs, not percentage, not those things. But just all those keys, these are words that I cannot just use. They are keywords. Understand? So, and it's being used. These are also functions. There are also keywords here, function here. They are also used within the program. Identifiers, you can see how your names, the names of your numbers is being used. You can see from A to Z. You can use capital letter. You can use accuracy. You can use that identifier. For example, you can name your name and give it, for example, maybe name, because character, bunch of character, maybe a character of this, maybe name. So you can just name it. Name. You can even put parentheses there. It's determined by the number of character you put there. Maybe your name is Nathan, for example. So you end with semicolon here. I have to end it with semicolon. Understand? But you may be thinking that why is my own showing error here in front of it? You may be thinking why, because you can come here and search for error length. Error length will enable your error to be showing. Error length, and install the plugin. Use it here and install it, so you'll be able to see the error in front of your program as well. So then let's move forward. Okay, I want to talk about the camel casing. I also want to talk about the way you name your variables. Names, you can also name variable like this. First name can be in first name, or stand first. In camel casing, camel, right? This one go up, this one go down, not with space. You won't say this. This is very, very wrong in program. Understand? You don't do it this way. Now you have to combine them. This is your character, your data type. Understand? And data type, we're going to talk about data type later. The size of it. This is 1 byte. So this is the size of it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to explain it as well. And also we talk about the integer, maybe your int age. So maybe you are 12. Understand? So this is your age. Understand? So that means this is integer number. Understand? But your age cannot be minus. But I put minus in front of this here, it's still going to accept it for me. But if I put on sign in front of it, I don't want to take anything sign, because your age cannot be negative. Maybe some numbers cannot be negative. So that means you have to put it there. But we compile, you're going to get an error. You will done compilations. We don't need a negative here for sign. But by default, it's signed by default. All right. So you can also have your name be stored in this way. Maybe, for example, character. Maybe float, for example, salary per month, and just name it this way as well. Maybe it's sort of $25.45. That this is what you take per month. Understand? So you can also name it this way as well. This is now your identifier for your salary, because variable. Also, it's stack. It's being stored on the RAM, make use of stack memory allocation. So we move forward. We now look at literal constants. We talk about integer values. You can read this document. Talk about floating point values. The one with decimal numbers are floating point values. Understand? You can also talk about string literals. And string literals also end with /0. You should also note that at the end of it, there's /0 at the end of it. The semicolon, the braces, these are still all under the structure, under the syntactic structure of the programs. Braces, where to use bracket, use them for array, sometimes can split column in case you want to have some kind of switches and other things else you want to have. Ellipses as well. Statement declarations, and that your statement declaration of statement expressions, maybe x equal to y is equal to 25. You can have some number together. Let's make an expression. By the end of that expression, you end it with what? With semicolon. Understand? You also have a compound statement together. Maybe you combine some kind of logic together. So to group some statement together, you also have, these are the static structure. You can also jump. You can also use go to. You can also jump out of the loop. You can also use break statements. You can also use continue statement. Understand? So then we talk about data type here as well. So let's look at data type. The data type here can be in form of a integer char. The other time I told you about char. The char is 8-bit in number. 8-bit, how many bits do we have? For example, 8 bits. A bit is just 0 or 1. Can be is 0 or 1. So, but 8 bits, 8 bits just 1 byte. So that is 2 raised to power 8. 2 raised to power n minus 1. Telling you that n, the n there is 2 raised to power 8 minus 1. That is 2 raised to power 8. That will be equals to 256 minus 1. That is 255. I mean, starting from 0 to 255. So you are starting from 0 to 255. So the sign characters were starting from minus 128 to minus what? 127. Understand? So we have 8 bits here. How do you come across this? How do you come on board with this? Maybe, for example, we have I'm just trying to see some writing notes, for example. To just try to do something, some analytic book, for example. Just create a new file here. Just just bother about these ones. Just get notes. And just in the notes here. Let me just use this one. So I can maybe use some mathematical functions there. That is an article, for example. So let's just begin something here. Then we have, for example, we just make use of maybe 2 raised to power n. 2 raised to power n. The formula just 2 raised to power n. Just have to put it in mathematical form so that just okay. You have 2 raised to power n here. And it's 2 raised to power n here. Just 2 raised to power n minus 1. That is the formula we use. Understand? Equals that is equal to, that is 256. That is 256 minus 1, which equals to what? From 0 to 255. So if I run it now, just see, you see that from 0 to 255. I see. From 0 to 255. So 2 raised to power n. So this that means it's going to 2 raised to power 8. You can also include the 2 raised to power 8 minus this is go to minus 1. So you can just say equal to what? 2 raised to power 8 minus 1. That's one card, right? 2 raised to power 8 minus 1. So we have it here, so 256 here. But it says it's 1 byte. How come does it now make 256 here? We have minus 128 and minus 1 and 127. For example, let's go back to that documentation. Let me use number to explain to us here. Integer. Okay, I have it here. Let me just come back to the character here. 128 plus 128 is 127. 0 is greater than 1 minus 128. Understand? So it is signed 1. That means you can also see some kind of form of negative value. Understand? The sign character. Sometimes you can also assign numbers to character in C something. So, but it is 8-bit in number. So this starts from 1 minus 128 plus this is minus 128 to 0 is how many characters? Minus 128 to 0 is like I want to minus 128 plus 0, because this to tell us that whether you are moving from minus 128 to 127, 0 is inclusive. So 0 also will be there today. Then would also be now be 128. That adding the two of them together will be 256. Same thing also applies to any signed. You see sign, this time you see this sign sign at the end of character or integer or floating numbers, tells you that that number, whether for example, for that number can take in negative values. Understand? Then we also have unsigned char. That means it's going to take a positive value. The one that is unsigned, that you see unsigned in front of it, does not need negative. It just go from what? From 0 to 255 straight. Understand? Same thing with short int. Short int is 16 bits. That is 2 bytes. The same thing has applied to it. If you see short in front of integer, for integer will be 4 bytes, which is 32 bits. Understand? 4 bytes is 8 bits. So 4 bytes will be 32 bits. But if you now add like 4, it's short of it, you put short in front of it, just like in form of this. And I just do something like this in form of my code here now. For example, if I just come here and comment this out, and just comment this out, if I comment this thing out now, I put in int. But if I say okay, print f short int. For example, short int value let's use size of, let's just call this size of short int. So let's, if we run this, then it said we have 2 bytes. It's giving me 2 bytes. That is 16. But let me now copy the same thing and use it for ordinary hints. This one should be what? It's just normal hints. Normal int value. Let's try for long instead of just as well. We just have for long. We also have what? Int value. We have it. Long int value. Let's see their values in case you want to use them in form of variables. For if we are seeing int x equal to 90, for example. So just all you are seeing on sign int y equal to 78. So now let's try to compile this. Let's try to compile this. Yeah, am I right? Can you see? This is 8 bytes. Long int is 8 bytes. Understand? The normal int is 4 bytes, and this is 2 bytes. You can understand now. So when we are seeing it from here, you can see that you can easily understand it. Easily understand the value. Understand? So now let's move to, you can go through all this int double. You can check for double and also see the documentation here we put in these documents. So okay, we have what as well. Now let's talk about operators. Maybe to avoid the videos being long, maybe we'll start the next lecture. We'll talk about operator. Let's stop there for now. So I'll meet you. Please like, comment. I will see you in the next lecture. Bye bye.